Good evening. Coming up in Mello TV Evening News, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announces cabinet reshuffle. Jamaica Teachers Association JTA hosts press conference to discuss teachers' issues. People's National Party demanding withdrawal of inflated salaries for politicians, and double murder and shooting rocks Westmoreland. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced a cabinet reshuffle, the creation of 2 new ministries, and the merging of some portfolios. Floyd Green will head the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining, with Frank Witter as Minister of State.
I have a new ministry, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and I'm appointing the Honourable Floyd Green, MP, as Minister in that ministry. Agriculture has such great potential, and mining fits neatly with it as well. And you would have had some experience in that regard as well, Minister Green. So I'm entrusting you with that very important ministry. The Honourable Franklin Witter will continue to be Minister of State in that ministry.
The Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport will be led by Darrell Vaz, with the J.C. Hutchinson as Minister of State. Pernell Charles Jr. has been appointed as the new Minister of Labour and Social Security, supported by Dr. Norman Dunn as Minister of State. The Prime Minister emphasized the need for significant transformations within the ministry, including the digitization of social welfare services.
I'm very pleased to welcome Senator, Dr. the Honourable Dana Morris Dixon. Of course, I'm giving you the title before you're sworn in, but when you're sworn in, the title will become official. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Cabinet as Minister without portfolio. And Dana will be responsible for skills and digital transformation. These are 2 areas that require particular skill sets. It is important to be able to attract people into government who are not necessarily coming from a political background, that come with a political skill set, because to move government, you need to have people also with technical skill sets who can look at the issue through an executive and policy lens. And that is why I'm so happy and so grateful that Dana has seen it possible to serve our country in this regard.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, the JTA, held a press conference on Monday to discuss several unaddressed concerns of teachers. President of the JTA, Lasagna Harrison, among the issues discussed was the haste in which teachers' compensation was handled, which has left several challenges.
Some of these discrepancies included incorrect calculations, resulting in teachers questioning their retroactive sums received. Some teachers received no retroactive sums at all. Some transitioned less than the promised 10% in the first year. Incorrect transitioning owing to the wrong point of departure. Lack of established and circulated protocols with regard to teachers who have resigned and have retired in their accessing their retroactive sums. The recouping of allowances, example that of upkeep, which the government had promised that would not have been so.
Other concerns raised were the inactivation of the new maternity and paternity leave benefits, graduate and remote allowance, as well as calculation of taxes. The JTA president says several letters were written without adequate response.
What scant regard for the nation's teachers. All the Jamaica Teachers Association has been asking is for the government or employers, the persons with whom we negotiate, for them to facilitate a meeting to treat with the outstanding matters, the the anomalies that have arisen from the implementation of the compensation, the restructuring exercise based on the agreement with the teachers. We're not asking for additional. All we're asking is that which you have agreed to give the teachers of this nation, that they actually receive what it is you have promised them.
Mrs. Harrison says the issue of the teachers are wide and threatens the education system.
Another matter that is brewing concerning the NCT vet and the VTDI teachers, the lecturers, the travesty of not seeking to reclassify these employees ahead of an impending redundancy exercise speaks to, the uncaring nature of the government of Jamaica towards the nation's practitioners, the people on whom we depend to nurture, to unearth the talents and giftings and to shape and mold the lives of the future of this nation.
The JTA says the teachers are despondent and this may impact students if there is a mass migration. The JTA is requesting an urgent meeting with the technical committee.
What is the fair due of the teacher that the government of Jamaica responds, and responds not tomorrow, not next week, not when they feel like, but that the government of Jamaica responds immediately to the teacher's plight. If at all we want to safeguard the education system and to maintain its quality and seek to improve thereupon, because the working condition of the teacher is the learning condition of the student.
In the meantime, the opposition People's National Party, the PNP, held a press conference earlier today outlining their grievances on the newly announced compensation hike for political leaders. Dr. Dayton Campbell shared one example of the party's grouse.
We are told by the Minister of Information when we had our press conference that you cannot roll back the salaries. That's what we were told on Friday. He was speaking with Emily Shields on Radio Jamaica. He said you cannot roll back the salaries. The Prime Minister of the country now calls a press conference on Monday and says that he's asking them to remove his salary. If he can remove the salary of the Prime Minister, then we are suggesting that you remove the salary of all of the members of the political directorate, including our members. Remove it as well. That is what we are calling for. Roll back the salaries. Nothing else is acceptable. And he has shown by his own actions that he can roll it back for himself. So we are asking for it to be rolled back for every single member of the political directorate. And if he says that cannot be done, then we have to question whether or not it is gimmicks when he says that he's rolling back his own.
Dr. Campbell stated that the country in 2024 would save $200 million should the bans be adjusted. Dr. Campbell urged Jamaicans to be wary of the Prime Minister as he lacks integrity.
These measures that the Prime Minister is speaking about, saying that he has had job descriptions from 2021. Why would the Prime Minister of the country have job descriptions from 2021 and not share them with the public? Why would you not put that out before you put out these unconscionable salaries? It is simple that you cannot trust the words of Andrew Holness. You dare not trust the words of Andrew Holness. It is the same man that told you that you'd be able to sleep with your windows and doors open. You can't trust that. It's the same man that said you would have fixed election dates. You can't trust that. It's the same man that said you would have an impeachment bill. You can't trust that. And this is a pattern with the Prime Minister of the country.
The PNP has questioned Prime Minister Holness's salary and accountability measures, criticizing the lack of consultation and unfulfilled promises. The PNP says it is advocating for equitable compensation across all public sector groups. They have called for an independent panel to review salaries and ensure fairness.
We have called on the government and I repeat the call for this entire salary package arrangement for the political directorate to be rolled back, to be discontinued, and for the matter to be considered afresh by an independent panel that can look at this matter from the standpoint of ensuring equity across the public service, ensuring that the salaries that are determined are consistent with Jamaica's economic performance and Jamaica's economic reality, including the reality that people are hurting out there, people are suffering out there, and the way in which politicians are paid must take into account how people are living in this society today.
And as the public outcry continues over the hike in salaries for politicians, another string of protests have erupted. Leading the latest demonstration is the Advocate Network Group, which gathered at the Ministry of Finance at Heroes Circle today.
The teachers had to fight tooth and nail to get the liquor increase them get. Less than 20% in many cases. And our politicians are getting over 20%. That's impossible. Where we get the money from? We couldn't find the money to pay the teachers, and where we get the money from to pay politicians. At this point, our teachers are worth more to our country than politicians. If our teachers leave, or what will happen to us? If our politicians leave, our country will still run. We have enough people here to run our country who love Jamaica. We're not here trying to retain politicians. We need to retain our teachers, our healthcare workers who are leaving in droves to go abroad for greener pastures. Those are the people that matter. Let's increase their salaries and not increase our politicians' salary.
Another protester shared that the group is unimpressed with the latest talks from Prime Minister Holness on the new salary.
They are fighting for their equal fare, because the scripture says, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. So if you think that you should get a 214% increase, all the people of Jamaica should likewise get the same increase. So if you don't think the people should get a 214%, you should roll back your increase and put it just in line with the people, because you are not above the people. It is the people who have placed you where you are, and you are not above the people. Don't lord yourself above the people. So this that I'm here talking about, which this cashless society, it is going to take the world by storm. Not only Jamaica, but it's going to take the world by storm. So what is happening here in Jamaica is the first stage where the leaders are testing the grounds to see how far they can go with the people. And if we allow them to go beyond the limits, God know what they will do.
Roll it back! In a Mello TV News follow-up this evening, the ongoing $160 million fraud case at several group of companies has resulted in only one employee remaining in custody, as his co-accused were granted station bail. The employee's lawyer claims he was denied bail because he refused to hand over his phone. The court has set a date for a bail application, and they investigate why the employee's status differs from the others. The case file is said to be incomplete, with outstanding statements and documents. A mention date for the case is set for September 25. In a fire incident along Eastwood Park Road in St. Andrew, a Toyota Hiace minibus was engulfed in flames on Tuesday night. An eyewitness reported that while traveling along the road around 8:40 p.m., they noticed fire emerging from the bus. Swift action was taken as the witness alerted the driver and passengers, enabling them to evacuate the vehicle. Firefighters arrived at the scene, but the bus was already destroyed by the blaze. No injuries were reported. The authorities are investigating the cause of the fire.
Operating the vehicle, I feel the seat getting hot. So I start the vehicle, check it, ask the passengers to exit. We lift up the front seat, that is where the engine bay is. I see smoke, so I grab the fire extinguisher, attempt to out the blaze, but it got out of control. Hence, the bus blaze. So I called the fire truck and then come assist and out.
A double murder and shooting of a female bar operator have left the Georges Plain Westmoreland community in shock. The Westmoreland police have initiated an investigation into the incident, which took place on Monday night. The victims have been identified as 26-year-old Ted Roy Chase and 46-year-old Ryan Williams, both construction workers from Georges Plain. At around 9:55 p.m., armed men ambushed the bar and shop where the victims were present, opening fire and causing multiple gunshot wounds. The assailants fled on foot, leaving the victims in critical condition. Despite immediate medical attention, Chase and Williams succumbed to their injuries, while the female bar operator is currently receiving treatment for serious injuries.
Janice Verna. And you say the gentleman was your baby father?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tell me what type of person he was.
He's a good person. I don't know him as no wrongdoer. He's a hard-working little boy. He do hard-working like me so work. So I don't know him as no bad boy. I don't know him as no wrongdoer. I know him as good little boy. Yeah. Him is not a worry, Sam. He don't make trouble. Everybody in the community love him. He's a nice, loving little boy. Everybody love him. He don't deserve it. He hard working. He loves to work. Right now, if he just come in for work and somebody else call him in job, I can't work clothes and he gonna work.
The authorities are working to apprehend those responsible for this heinous crime. And those are the stories making the news this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Mello TV Evening News. I'm Nicole Hales. Stay safe and thanks for watching.